As we officially welcome in spring, it is also Severe Weather Awareness Week.
Yeah, our next weather team is here to keep you prepared in case a disaster strikes, of course. And remember, it's not about being scared, it's about being prepared. Now, joining us now is Steve Taylor, a member of the business development team at ServPro. And Steve, thanks very much for joining us tonight. Disaster response, all kinds of stuff. Michigan's seen all kinds of stuff over the past couple of years. Most recent of which, obviously, is a winter that really wasn't a winter until suddenly it was.
Yeah.
But thanks again for joining us here.
Oh, absolutely. Happy to be here.
So let's start off even before we get into severe weather season. How has this winter kind of shaped up with what all of you at ServPro and everything have do with normal disaster response, or even just responding to things like you were talking even before we started here, pipe breaks?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. We've had a pretty unique winter in terms of our precipitation levels and our temperature levels. However, a lot of times it's the rapid change in temperature that really causes issues with pipe breaks and those things. So we've had a few instances of those over the last few months, but largely it's been a pretty mild winter, fortunately for a lot of us.
So we were talking a little bit about the things that you do. Obviously, pipe breaks was a big one from the winter. Going into then severe weather season, a lot of things change. But what is it really down to, I guess, even kind of like the nitty gritty that ServPro really takes care of? What is it that ServPro does?
So we focus primarily on property restoration. So after any kind of disaster, whether it's natural, whether it's a pipe break, fire, water, mold, what have you, we can come in and help assess the situation, find the source, and then make it like it never even happened, a pre-loss condition.
So this is a year-round thing. This isn't just, oh, you know, you're getting thunderstorms or you're getting heavy snow or a frozen pipe. This is really everything. No,
yeah, absolutely. And you know, things are cyclical. Obviously, right now we're in a heavy water events. But you know, in May there'll be water, and then we'll have a mold season where temperatures start to rise up, and people will find issues they didn't know they had. Fires happen at any time of the year, so we're really just emergency services.
So in Southeast Michigan particularly, especially lately with these storms we've had, you always hear a lot of talk about the infrastructure. We've got big old trees in many parts of the metro. What are the issues that you guys are dealing with and responding to the most?
Well, on top of just property damage from trees falling, into the home, roof damage or siding damage and those things. I mean, power outages over an extended period of time are also a concern, especially if a sub pump in your basement, because if you don't have power and it can't operate and there's heavy rain, that could lead to things like basement flooding and other issues like that.
And with obviously things from the ice storm, the heavy snow that happened again, trees. Big issue that we've seen recently, causing all kinds of things. But let's start with basically step one, if we can. So step one, tree branch or something, unfortunately, goes through the roof of somebody's home or damages their property in that way. As long as they're safe, obviously step one would probably be, call 911 if there was a really, really big issue. But where does somebody go from there? Because it's not something you want to have to think about in that moment when you're going, wow, this is now just completely damaged my home.
Yeah, you're right, Ahmed. So once we can verify that everyone's safe and it's no longer an immediate threat to anyone's safety, you can take photos of the damage, and I would contact your insurance company and make sure that they know about it, and then you call a company like ServPro to come out and help assess the damage, and we can work with your insurance company and you to kind of create a battle plan on how to effectively deal with that quickly.
So I've heard that they're supposed to make sure the structure is secure first. Is that something where they would tarp maybe like a hole in their roof themselves, or is that something they talk to insurance or you? How would that go about?
Yeah, I mean, you talk to your insurance and you talk to us, and we can tarp that up. So really, and this is the first step of like any restoration that we do, is going to be to find the source and make sure that it doesn't have an opportunity to be an issue in the future. So if it's a broken pipe, we'd want the pipe repaired before we actually do any remediation.
How can you help people figure out in the moment, for those of us who might be tempted to do a little DIY, but we're not sure, how can you decide if this is a job I can safely tackle myself, or should I just call somebody?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of great self-help that you can find online, but the problem with that too is there's also a lot of misinformation and a lot of bad information online, so it can be hard to kind of delve through that.
Misinformation online.
What? Yeah. Really, the best case scenario is if it's anything above a small issue, I would contact your insurance company, not necessarily file a claim, but we can come out and observe it and see if it's worth a claim, to see what the next steps are, just to make sure you don't have any headaches down the road.
And when it comes to something like that, even it's how long of a process even? I mean, you're looking at, even when you talked about fires, that kind of thing. So steering away even from weather for just a moment. When it's something that disastrous, how long do you normally take for something like that to be a full rebuild even? Or even just basically something done even to the roof of somebody's home? There's a whole spectrum obviously with that. But how long do these different projects take for you guys?
Well, it can be anywhere from a few days to a matter, in a fire, a matter of months. Especially if it's a big enough fire where the fire department comes. And I mean, their goal is going to be to save the structure and make sure it doesn't spread. Unfortunately, that also comes with it a lot of soot damage, contents like your home and your possessions need to be cleaned. We have to do water remediation a lot of the times to help curb that. So that can be somewhere upwards of 8 to 10 months.
Cool, excellent. Steve Taylor with ServPro. We're actually going to we got a lot more questions actually, including a couple that came in from all of you earlier today. We're going to be back here with another conversation with Steve in just a moment. Bless you.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Macomb County. Hi, we're CBS News Detroit. But we don't just cover the news here. We're also here, and everywhere in between. You know, the places you live, work, and play in Southeast Michigan. We're talking less of this, and more of the stories that actually matter to you.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock.
That's right, local news just found a home in your neighborhood. We're CBS News Detroit, live, streaming, and on demand. Nice to meet you. CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Wayne County. CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Monroe County.
CBS News Detroit, the stories you care about.
Live, streaming, and on demand. We're on your block, around the clock.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it.
We live here. We work here.
From North Branch to Southgate.
East Point to Westland.
Wherever you live, we're here for you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
CBS News Detroit, live, streaming, and on demand. Building a better newscast, one story at a time.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Oakland County. It's here, the new CBS News Detroit.
Covering every corner of our community.
With experienced journalists, uncovering the stories that truly matter to you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
And weather experts, always looking ahead to prepare you for what's next. Live, streaming, and on demand, with more hours of local news coming soon.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it, right here on CBS News Detroit.
Weekdays at 5, 6, and 11, and streaming live.
Welcome back. According to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, floods are the most common and most costly natural disaster. They say an inch of water inside your home can cost you up to $10,000, and a foot of water will run you nearly $28,000. Once again, we are joined by Steve Taylor from ServPro. Thanks for being here, Steve. You guys are no stranger to dealing with water, even in the winter. We're talking about severe weather this week, but even during the winter, we've had water in basements. We've had a lot of issues recently. You've dealt with this quite a bit with ServPro, yes?
Always.
And how do you respond when we're talking water? We've talked about limbs, tree branches through homes. How about water?
So, I mean, the first step in any kind of restoration with that on your property is, again, to find the source. So when you show up on site, we'll make sure the source is fixed and it's not going to be a repeat issue. From there, we'll take some measurements. We'll go through things like the relative humidity, the temperature of the room, the size of the room. We may compare that to an unaffected area in your house to kind of get a base measurement of what dry would look like, and what that would be your pre-loss condition. And then we can use those levers to create an environment to help move the moisture out of that environment to clean quicker and clean as efficiently as we can.
So restoration-wise, because that's a big thing, obviously, that goes along with kind of how ServPro acts and everything. What can you obviously restore for a home that's been damaged, and what can't be done? What are some of the things that are the divide line for you?
So there's always an efficiency calculation for the insurance company and the homeowner. Sometimes it's not worth the clean or to fix something, but in terms of like family heirlooms, photos, documents, we can do document drying, we can save photos, we can restore antique furniture, carpets, rugs, all of those things generally.
So what would make it easier for somebody, or what would make it easier for you to be able to restore somebody's home or a room or something that was damaged? What can somebody do to make it easier once you get to, if unfortunately that type of process happens?
I would say having an understanding of your policy and your policy limits, what's covered, what's not covered. By contacting your insurance company, they'll be able to help kind of steer in the right direction. And other than that, just understanding it's a process. We've invested a lot of money and a lot of resources into our infrastructure to make sure that when we communicate, it's effective and we can create a plan to effectively get you back to that pre-loss condition. But even still, it's still just a process.
Do you find that people are generally as informed as they should be about their policy before they give you guys a call?
Generally speaking, yes, but there are a few things that if you have a finished basement, making sure you have basement backup coverage, making sure you have coverage for your sub pump, make sure you have proper know your policy limits, because if you have flooring or carpet, drywall, your entertainment center with your expensive TV and those things, all those things are going to play into those policy limits.
So would you recommend somebody have like photos of the interior of their home, videos? Like what kind of stuff would you recommend somebody has for that?
Yeah, if you have record of what it was prior to any kind of disaster or prior to that, that's always going to be helpful in terms of creating a plan to get you to pre-loss condition. And everything is going to end up being a level of communication between the insurance company, us at ServPro, and the homeowner to kind of create a plan and tackle it
So
together.
even a photo from like that family dinner you had 5 months ago can help you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just when you get it set up, looking all nice, make sure to snap a picture.
Yeah.
See, I keep forgetting to do that every time we do
that's a
something
good
new to the
idea.
house.
Do you have any examples of things you or your crews have seen when they're out there that maybe a family heirloom or furniture that could have been saved if it were only stored or kept a slightly different way than people tend to keep them?
The biggest thing is time and understanding what the environment you're putting things into. So I know, for example, for myself, our basement right now is primarily for storage, right? So it's concrete, but it's also, it can get damp and humid down there. So if I'm putting wood furniture down there, if I'm putting things down there, taking the proper precautions to make sure the air isn't filled with moisture and is pretty dry.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Have there been any where you went, I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but somehow you were able to get it done or actually restored in a way that the homeowner went, wow?
Yeah, well, and maybe not in a homeowner in this sense, but we have done work at hotels and historic places, and we came in with a pipe burst and they had ornate plaster. We were able to pre-plan enough to where we found somebody who could do that work quickly enough so they didn't have to be tore out and be replaced with something like drywall, which obviously takes away from the atmosphere and the allure of a hotel.
Yeah, very nice. If there's one piece of advice you could give to a homeowner now to really just be prepared in the event that something does happen, what should they do before they can even predict what that specific issue would be?
A few things you can do is make sure you have an emergency bag ready, filled with things like a battery charger, extra water, extra food, blanket, flashlight, and those things in case you have a power outage or another issue. But also be able to tag where your shutoffs are, your gas shutoff and your water shutoff, because if you had a pipe burst or you had any other issue like that, being able to turn that off and stop that flow of water into your home is paramount in terms of being able to deal with it.
So knowledge of a home, knowledge of the coverage policy, all of that, just real important things to have.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks,
All right.
Steve.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Steve Taylor from ServPro. When we come back, we will be joined by 2 Oakland County emergency management officials to discuss more. Stay with us.
CBS CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Macomb County. Hi, we're CBS News Detroit. But we don't just cover the news here. We're also here, and everywhere in between. You know, the places you live, work, and play in Southeast Michigan. We're talking less of this and more of the stories that actually matter to you.
CBS News Detroit. On your block, around the clock.
That's right. Local news just found a home in your neighborhood. We're CBS News Detroit. Live, streaming, and on demand. Nice to meet you. CBS News Detroit. On your block, around the clock in Wayne County. CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Monroe County.
CBS News Detroit, the stories you care about.
Live, streaming, and on demand. We're on your block, around the clock.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it.
We live here. We work here.
From North Branch to Southgate.
East Point to Westland.
Wherever you live, we're here for you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
CBS News Detroit. Live, streaming, and on demand. Building a better newscast, one story at a time.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Oakland County. It's here, the news CBS News Detroit.
Covering every corner of our community.
With experienced journalists, uncovering the stories that truly matter to you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
And weather experts, always looking ahead to prepare you for what's next. Live, streaming, and on demand, with more hours of local news coming soon.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it, right here on CBS News Detroit.
Weekdays at 5, 6, and 11, and streaming live.
Welcome back. From floods to power outages, severe weather emergencies can happen at a moment's notice. So how can you protect yourself from the impacts of severe weather? Joining us now to discuss are Tom Hardesty and Kevin Sadage of Oakland County Emergency Management. Thank you both for being here. Tom, maybe you can get started by just explaining to us, to those who don't know, what does emergency management do?
So emergency management, we are a support to the 62 cities, villages, and townships in Oakland County. We help them prepare for, respond to, and recover from significant events that happen in Oakland County, and that includes training and preparing ahead of time, as well as when those incidents happen.
Okay, so you guys have been busy lately, I take it, over the past month especially?
When we're not reacting, we're training.
Okay.
Yes.
So training, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's, like you said, I mean, there are so many different aspects and so many different communities that you serve. But what are some of the different things that you go through for training, like you mentioned, in between different events?
Sure. Well, I can tell you what I did in my instance. I spent most of my career in public relations, a little bit of military, a little bit of law enforcement, and learned the basics of how FEMA operates in an emergency. I had to learn the basics before I could get to the advanced stuff. A lot of the stuff you can actually learn online. Your viewers could check out some of the FEMA courses that are offered and see if it's interesting to them. And then you just get more advanced things on how a community or a municipality or state or federal government reacts and responds in an emergency. So it's just building blocks, the basics to the hard stuff.
Gotcha.
What are you guys most focused on when you are spending so much time training? You know, these days with the weather patterns we've seen recently, the ones we are expecting, what is concern number one for?
Well, we certainly take an all hazards approach. We're always planning generally how can we respond, but weather is our number one impact. We've seen urban flooding, we've seen tornadoes, we've seen significant storms here in the last couple of years. And as we get into Severe Weather Awareness Week this week, it's just a good time to a reminder for people, for businesses, for schools to plan for that. Have a plan, practice that plan so that you're ready when these things happen. Because weather is the one thing we know we're going to get every single year.
That's for sure.
He looked at me when he said weather, and all right, fine. But when it comes to, as well, a lot of these storms and everything, talking about being prepared, and we're going to go over that actually in just a few minutes. You guys brought some stuff with you that we'll talk about on the other side of the next commercial break. But when it comes to alerting individuals as well, one of the big ones I had asked online a little earlier, what are some things that you want to know about when it comes to alerting? And a big one was, well, sirens. Everybody always goes, number one thing is sirens. It seems like that dominant thing, but that's not the only way that people should get alerts, and they're not for everything, correct?
That's correct, and you'll always hear us say the outdoor warning sirens. Yes. Those sirens are geared to warn people outside. We have a lot of lakes, a lot of golf courses, a lot of places that people like to do recreation outside. Those sirens are designed to give you a warning to take shelter. Go inside and seek more information. Go to your CBS weather app. Get more information.
And these are the same sirens, sorry, that we hear tested at the beginning of the month,
we do.
Correct? Okay.
Yep, we hear them tomorrow. Special test tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and you'll hear them then. But they're designed for outside. But we also have Oak Alert. It's an app that you can sign up for from Oakland County. Go to oakgov.com. /emergency management, self-sign up, and you can get notification for weather, for storms, for tornadoes, or for other emergencies that might happen in the county.
Excellent. And then when it comes to a lot of this alerting and everything as well, when you get into now an event, the emergency has happened, the alert has gone out, what happens then for all of you when you are in the moment there? What do you guys do then once, say, like a tornado warning comes out? How do you respond with that?
For sure. Well, I want to mention we have 276 sirens in Oakland County, and there's a lot of mysteriousness around sirens. When they go off, what does it mean? Is there an all clear? And one of the things we continually educate the residents of Oakland County is what they actually do. So when we activate a siren, it's for a tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service. We also activate our sirens for severe weather with winds of 70 miles per hour. So those are the basics on when we activate our siren system. You'll hear a 3-minute tone. They go off. There's no follow-up. There's no all clear. Some communities actually do that, but we don't do that in Oakland County. So those are some basics. We do those siren tests all year except for the winter months, December, January, and February. So, and as Tom mentioned, we have the special siren test tomorrow. It's the only one we do midweek all year, and it's in conjunction with the statewide siren test. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of communities are going to take part in that, of course, as well. And then once that alert goes out, all of you, say, are in the building, emergency management, trying to figure out or working on the response with that. Is the area basically for all of you just manned 24/7? How does that work then with keeping an eye on the situation?
So we work our normal hours, and we have on-call specialists available 24/7. So if there's a weather event, we have processes in place to come in to do special monitoring if there's a weather event that we might need to activate sirens or activate our emergency operations center.
All right, when a severe weather event is in the forecast and you guys are getting ready to initiate your plan, what are some of the other ways that you make sure Oakland County is ready? I know we have the notification system, we have the sirens for that actual moment. What else are you doing to make sure that the entire area, it's a large area, you cover?
It is a large area. We're in communication with all of our local, we have an emergency management contact with every community in the county. We're in regular communication with them. We're in communication with the National Weather Service. We're on social media, putting out updates and information there, taking calls, trying to reassure people when needed. Just making sure that those first responders in particular have the information that they might need when things happen.
All right.
And when it comes to something like, a few weeks ago when there were so many power outages, so many issues, especially when it comes down to just, general public trying to get around. What is it that you do to try and make sure everything runs smoothly in an instance like that?
Well, we're in communication with the energy companies at the same time. We have specific contacts with DTE, with Consumers Energy. So again, trying to address specific needs. They're working to restore power as quickly as they can. but making sure that they know if there's a critical area that might need service first. Is it a large senior citizen area? Is it a public safety building, a fire department? So making sure that they have access, DTE or consumers have access to that information so that they can address those areas quickly.
Were there any situations like that with these past couple of storms?
We were in constant communication. So yeah, there were down power lines in intersections, busy intersections, that were tying up a number of public safety officials, at risk from live power lines down there. So getting that information to them, their phone lines were crazy. Yeah. So we have the ability to have immediate contact with those officials and be able to prioritize those calls.
Sure. All right. All right, we will have more with Kevin and Tom right after the break. Stay with us.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Macomb County. Hi, we're CBS News Detroit. But we don't just cover the news here. We're also here, and everywhere in between. The places you live, work, and play in Southeast Michigan. We're talking less of this, and more of the stories that actually matter to you.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock.
That's right, local news just found a home in your neighborhood. We're CBS News Detroit, live, streaming, and on demand. Nice to meet you. CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Wayne County. CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Monroe County.
CBS News Detroit, the stories you care about.
Live, streaming, and on demand. We're on your block, around the clock.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it.
We live here. We work here.
From North Branch to Southgate.
East Point to Westland.
Wherever you live, we're here for you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
CBS News Detroit, live, streaming, and on demand. Building a better newscast, one story at a time.
CBS News Detroit, on your block, around the clock in Oakland County. It's here, the new CBS News Detroit.
Covering every corner of our community.
With experienced journalists, uncovering the stories that truly matter to you.
Making a difference in your neighborhood.
And weather experts, always looking ahead to prepare you for what's next. Live, streaming, and on demand, with more hours of local news coming soon.
Southeast Michigan news whenever you want it, right here on CBS News Detroit.
Weekdays at 5, 6, and 11, and streaming live.
Welcome back. So we've been talking about all kinds of things, severe weather preparedness, of course, over the past few days. And today we're joined in studio, of course, talking about disaster restoration, emergency management. But this is a map that shows all of the Michigan tornado tracks for Southeast Michigan since 1950, which is when records actually truly began for that. And of course, in studio, we have representatives from the emergency management in Oakland County. And you can see right here, there's been a lot of different events that have gone on throughout the county. Again, joined here with Kevin Sadich and Tom Hardesty with Oakland County Emergency Management. And on the map, there were a couple really dark red lines that showed some of the stronger events that have gone through. A tornado back in July of 1957, an EF4 there, and then another one actually as recent, the West Bloomfield tornado, which was an EF4 back in March, which people don't always think in colder months, of 2001. So, I mean, these severe weather events can really happen any time of the year.
Yes, they can. And they have an impact you never know where they're going to go happen, which is, again, why we stress being prepared and why we work with all those communities so that they're ready to respond and assist as quickly as they can when these things happen.
And of course, response coming after once something has already happened, but being prepared ahead of time is always very, very important. And we've got toys
We do.
in studio that we can talk about. So what do we have in front of us? We're talking about emergency kits that somebody should have at home.
So my favorite part, I spent my whole childhood in the Boy Scouts to be prepared. So the first thing is to have a good bag. Okay. You want to be prepared. So having a place that you can keep this where everyone in your family knows is very important. Obviously, it's going to be a bigger bag if you have a bigger family, smaller if it's just you. I'm going to take this and put it out of the way here. It's important to have about a gallon of water per person per day. This is a representative of water, so this is our water prop.
Perfect.
You want to have food. Obviously, if it's canned food, it's better than having fresh food. It's not going to keep if you have an extended power outage. Another thing, we're all so wired up and hooked up, is to have a generator. This little cute device, actually, you can charge your phone with it. It's solar powered, and it's also I guess human powered, I'll call it. So you can wind it up, you can charge, you can listen to the radio, you can listen to your favorite CBS News.
Hey, there you go.
And it's got a little strobe light on it, and it's a really handy piece of gear. If you have multiple family members, or if they have a lot of needs for smartphones, you could get multiple and charge.
Now, is that something you need to leave in sunlight for the most part, or where would you store this?
This can be charged if you're actually in an emergency. You could leave this out and allow it to charge.
Okay.
You could plug your phone into it, and you could power it directly from this device here.
Wow.
These are available all over. They're very inexpensive nowadays.
Excellent.
You want a good flashlight?
Hey, there we go.
These types of flashlights, they're so very inexpensive. Obviously, you can get a very high-powered one. If you have family members that take medication, you want to make sure you have enough medication for everyone. Obviously, if you're just about to get something filled, but if you have as much as you can, to try to keep it in a waterproof area to keep it nice and safe.
And so far as we're going through, I'm noticing something that isn't in the kit that was always in the kit when I was a kid, which is candles.
Candles. Well, that's a very good one. We do have some handy-dandy waterproof matches.
Hey, there we go.
So you would use these to ignite your candles, which are not in this particular pack. But some other things, just real quick, is some just hand sanitizer. We all have experience with that in the last few years. The magic engineering supply duct tape. It fixes everything. You can prepare your pants or your shoes with that. Since Hurricane Katrina, the Pets Act has been passed, which allows for animals to be considered an emergency. So animals are welcome at congregate and shelters. So don't forget food for your pet.
Good to know.
Enough water for your pet. Having something they can sleep in, a little blanket, a little toy that they're comfortable with.
So that's every shelter when there's a disaster. Pets are allowed to...
There might be designated shelters, but they are definitely accounted for now. So people that bring their pets in an emergency, they're welcome to do that. You don't want to forget a first aid kit with basic supplies. Make sure that you have up-to-date aspirin and Tylenol, things like that. But things with a tourniquet, it's very important. Some bandages, antiseptic, things like that.
I was just going to say, there's different sizes of first aid kits, obviously. There's so many out there. So what type of level, I guess, would you recommend for somebody to have in their bag within their home?
So in this case, to have a good amount of gauze, if you're dealing with broken floors with nails sticking out of, so something that you could clean the wound out safely. We're not talking about emergency room level stuff, but things that you can do yourself until you can get professional help to you.
Okay.
And then some other things like having some family documents. Where do you keep your Social Security cards, insurance policies, things like that. And the basics, a knife, and you want to sustain yourself for about 3 days. Hopefully help will come before that, but you know that you're sustaining within your family for 3 days with these supplies.
And I'm a meteorologist, and yet I know my weakness is there. I'm somebody that sometimes tends to go, you know what, all right, I've said it, it's done, and I left it alone. How often should somebody go back and make sure that everything, first off, is still good within their kit? How often should somebody check on their emergency supply?
Well, you know, every year we ask people to check their smoke detector batteries when the time changes. So that's a good opportunity. Something that works well for your family is a good chance, but revisiting it, making sure your medicines are up to date and they're not going to go bad when you need them, making sure that the water is rotated somewhat regularly so it's not old water. You want to make sure that you're staying healthy in the emergency, and your pet food too.
And you have that handy bag that no one's going to miss in the event of an emergency. It's bright red. It says exactly what you
Emergency Go
need.
Kit.
Where do you keep that? Where is an ideal place to store something
I
like
keep
that?
mine in my laundry room. A lot of people, friends, keep them in their garage, under a bed, depending on their space. Somewhere where you can get it. Probably a basement would be a good place to put it too.
Somewhere easily accessible.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for bringing all the goodies. I think a lot of us have a first aid kit sitting around somewhere. Everyone has most of these things, but actually combining it, having it ready to go when you actually need it is a good reminder for everybody. Thanks so much to Tom Hardesty and Kevin Sadich of Oakland County Emergency Management. When we return, we'll talk more about this statewide tornado drill we've been mentioning that's happening tomorrow.